We're going to call the board meeting of Tuesday, May 21st, 2019 to order at 7:00 p.m. If you'll please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Standing for a moment of silent prayer, and please keep Supervisor Stumble in your prayers as she's lost a family member and is in traveling. We're going to go to the agenda, and after the Pledge of Allegiance is a public hearing. And thank you all for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. The public hearing is to be called at 7 o'clock for Resolution 2019-25, the creation of Security Camera Special Assessment District number 074 for Cliffs Condos. So I would now declare the public hearing open. If you have a comment, whether it's for or against, in regards to the security camera that's going to be going in, one camera at the corner of Cliffs Drive and Grove Road. This is a time you go to microphone. Please give your name for the record. Remember, the person who types the minutes isn't here, so speak into the microphone. I think I turned on the mic, so they should be working. Does anyone want to speak in the public hearing? Just go straight to the microphone. You can even line up behind them if you want. If you're not able to go, if you just raise your hand, I can have the mics taken to you too. Hi. There's one on this side too, sir.
Oh,
both, all these or that one, any three. You're right.
Hi, my name is Karen Hansen. My question is, the letter that you sent out stated that the $9-something, let's say $10 a year, would be the cost per parcel for 3 years. Let's say in the fourth year, Conti and Comcast decide to raise it to like $25, double it or more or triple it. Is there any way we, as all the associations, can back out of the deal?
We're basically here to serve, and so if that was to happen and we couldn't find a competitor, one of the things that's happening in the marketplace right now, there's so many other companies coming online, so we think those rates will be competitive, but it will be seeking, because you're not the only one. We have hundreds of cameras, and lots of township residents are paying for those now, so we would look out for, for something that would be more reasonable, and if not, through a request of your association, if you want to bring it forward, just like you're doing tonight, the board could reverse that decision and take you out of that SAD. So we work for you, so we're going to not make sure that you don't get gouged. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming out, Ms. Hansen. Next.
Hi, my name is William Johnstone, and you'll have to forgive me because I've been in Florida, so I had no idea about this until I got the letter. So I have a couple of questions.
I thought you were going to tell us you didn't know how cold it was here.
Well, I made a big mistake.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, you started to answer my first question. Are there any other cameras like this in use in the township?
Yeah, how many do we have now? Michael Radzik, who oversees the camera kind of installation.
In neighborhoods, about 50.
We have about 50 cameras totally? In neighborhoods.
And how did you decide where to place these?
It's at the request of residents, such as your homeowner, your association came forward. That's the kind of part of the legal process. Somebody's got a request. Because what happens is the board, this is the same process, a very legal process governed by state law. And it's the same one for street lights. It's the same ones if you wanted water or sewer, you didn't have it. If you wanted your roads curb and gutted or paved, there's only certain things that you can special assess for. And so normally, there's two ways that can happen. One is a petition by 50% of all the residents plus one. So it's a majority of people sign a petition saying, yes, I want this product. Yes, I want to be taxed or special assessed for it. But what the board has done is if it's coming through a representative body like your homeowners association or condominium association or if it comes through that legal kind of organization, then the board actually can create it, and that's what's being done here. After, we still got to send out the letters and tell you how much it is, still got to have the public hearing, and go through that. And there's also will be, you'll get another, if this gets passed tonight, there'll be another, on the first year when it's passed, there'll be another letter that's sent out to you towards the end of the year before the special assessment goes on, and you'll get a chance to come then and say, no, I don't want it. You know, you can do that at that time too. There's another process.
Well, then you answer my ignorance because I wasn't here. I didn't even know that our board asked for it. So
No, that's fine.
So the last question I had on that then is, how are these monitored and used?
We have the sheriff's department, usually they're for after crimes are committed. They don't prevent crimes, but after something happens and maybe something happened in your homeowners association and you guys call the sheriff's department or you call us, then the sheriff's department is the ones that views that, and they're looking for, car, model, make, because it's real clear. You can see the license plate, what the person looks like. Do you have anything to add to that? Michael Radzik, who kind of oversees the cameras for the Ypsilanti Township?
Sure, good evening. So the camera video feed is not live monitored 24/7. When a crime is reported or there's some other incident of interest to law enforcement, they use that as an investigative tool. So they can go back and look at the recordings in any particular time frame, and we archive the video. It's a high definition, high resolution color video, and it's got very good night resolution, and we always try to position the cameras underneath an LED light, which improves the nighttime recording capability. So they'll use it as an investigative tool to investigate crimes. For instance, somebody comes home, their house or their vehicle maybe was burglarized, and they say, well, it happened sometime between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. They can literally go back and see who came in and out of that entryway during that period of time. Maybe a neighbor says I saw this dark-colored minivan, in that time frame. Well, that gives them a little bit more to go on. So they could potentially get a license plate number that could lead to a suspect. We've had situations where the police have been able to recognize people's faces through windshields, or even an image in a side view mirror that somebody just kind of posed for the camera. So it works very well in that regard.
So
I would also just for the benefit, because they asked about Comcast, we started this as a trial project, an experimental project many years ago using wireless cellular technology, and it was too expensive and we couldn't sustain enough bandwidth as the system grew. And we went to hardwire. We chose Comcast. Comcast came through last year wanting to renew our contracts long-term. We chose a shorter-term contract. They actually reduced the price, and we knew why, because as was mentioned, this industry is getting more and more competitive, and more local independent providers are putting fiber in the ground. And so we chose a shorter-term contract, knowing that either next time they'll likely reduce it further, or there may be a less expensive, as good or better quality competitor that we could then transfer over to.
So the recordings are housed by the township?
They're housed on servers in the township offices, and the sheriff's department, myself, and I think one other township employee are authorized to go in. I only go in and look for system maintenance purposes. I check several times a week to make sure all the cameras are operating and do the work orders with our vendors if there's a problem. The deputies are in it. I would venture to guess probably rarely a day will go by when a deputy somewhere isn't into the system looking for evidence on a crime.
So the infrastructure is the township's, and you're only leasing the cabling process?
We own the servers that record it. We own the cameras. We own, inside you'll see a box. If it gets approved, there'll be a box on a pole. In that box is the Comcast modem and a small little heater that only operates in the severe cold weather to keep it going. And then the camera is either mounted on that box or next to that box. The township owns the camera. And you, as the property owner, would pay for the operating and maintenance expense, the Comcast bill. And then there's a maintenance agreement with Conti Corporation, which is our vendor, and they come out 4 times a year. They clean and adjust the lenses, and they do the software upgrades, so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I'm Quorum Sheik, and I'm actually president of the Cliffs on the Point 2, one of the associations there. And you're correct, as a group, we did request these cameras. As I'm sure everybody here knows, we had a homicide about a year and a half ago, and that was very alarming to everyone, of course. And so we were looking at just all the different things we can do. Our particular association has 4 cameras that we had installed, and Guardian Alarm handles that. And so when this program became available, we endorsed it. And so I'm just here as one of the residents to say that we think it's a great idea, and we'd like to use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I have received several things I have to read as part of the public hearing from a Michael Brown, who says him and his wife are in strong support, him and Mary are in strong support of the creation of the neighborhood camera district. Feels a small price to pay for improving safety and security. Please approve its creation. From Krista Foley-Seifert. Unable to attend the public hearing regarding the camera proposal, but we want to express our approval of the yearly assessment being installed for the camera at Grove and Cliffs. We believe an annual assessment of $9.39 is a small price to pay for increased security. They had cameras too, she had questions, but I responded to those. This one's from Nancy Hooper. Accept this as an email of our approval of assessment district for the neighborhood, and she signs it from Tim Galen, Nancy Hooper, and thank you for your service. And then there was one from a John Klink, who says it serves as our approval for this assessment, and his wife also agrees, he says. And then this one's from a Richard Gala and Janice Gala, Gala, and please put our names as a no vote. We have cameras already, thanks. Sorry we can't attend the meeting. That's all I have, and at this time, if there's no other comments, I'll close the public hearing, and I have a resolution to offer. Resolution 2019-25, the creation of the Neighborhood Camera Special Assessment District, number 074, the Cliffs Condos, and whereas at the request of the Homeowners Association, the Township Board of the Charter Township Ypsilanti proposes to install a security camera to be located at the southwest corner of Grove Road and Cliffs Drive. And whereas Ypsilanti Township has paid for the purchase and installation of the camera, or will, and whereas the Township Board proposes the creation of a special assessment district that consists of 245 parcels known as Cliffs Condos, which will be benefited to defray the operation and maintenance costs of the camera, and whereas the Township Board has solicited requests for proposals for the proposed project describing the security camera improvement and the proposed location of the said improvements and estimated costs, and whereas Conti Corporation, a video security company that's licensed by the state of Michigan, prepared and submitted proposed plans to install, operate, and maintain security cameras in public areas located within the boundaries of the Cliffs Condos, which consists of the 245 parcels with the following estimated costs. The cost of the camera is $4,908.09, which Ypsilanti Township, through your tax dollars, will be paying for that, so that won't be an assessment. A total annual residence cost for the maintenance operation of the cameras for 3 years is $6,972. And that will be the annual cost per parcel is $9.39. Can also be viewed as 78 cents per parcel per month. And whereas the plans, estimates of costs and proposed special assessment district were filed with the township clerk for public examination, and notice of the public hearing upon the same was published and mailed in accordance with the law and statute provided as shown by affidavits pertaining hereto on file with the township clerk, whereas in accordance with aforesaid notices, a hearing was held on the 21st day of May 2019, commencing at approximately 7 o'clock, and all persons given the opportunity to be heard in the manner. And whereas, as a result of the foregoing, the Township Board believes the project is in the best interest of the township and of the district proposed to be established, therefore, now therefore be resolved as follows, that this Township Board does hereby approve the plans for the public security cameras as prepared and presented by the township's licensed security system contractor, and its annual estimate of costs for the operation and maintenance thereof, 2, that this township board creates a special assessment district located within the boundaries of the Cliffs Condos, with the district to be known as Cliffs Condos Neighborhood Camera Special Assessment District Number 074, within which the cost of the operation and maintenance of the security cameras will be assessed according to the benefits. Then on number 3, based on the foregoing, this township board does hereby direct the supervisor and assessing officer to make a special assessment roll in which shall be entered and described all the parcels of land to be assessed with the names of the respective owners thereof, if known, and a total amount to be assessed against each parcel of land, which amount shall be the relative portion of the whole sum to be levied against the parcels of land in the special assessment district, as the benefit to the parcel of land bears to the total benefit to all the parcels of land in the special assessment district. When the same has been completed, the supervisor or assessing officer shall affix thereto her certificate stating that it was made pursuant to this resolution, and that in making such assessment roll, she has, according to her best judgment, conformed in all aspects to the directions contained in this resolution and the applicable state statutes. 4, when the special assessment roll has been prepared and filed in the office of the township clerk, before said assessment roll has been confirmed, the township board shall appoint a time, place when it will meet, review, and hear any objections to the assessment roll. 5, if the assessment roll is confirmed, the township board intends to hold a public hearing once every year in the future years on or before September 30th to assess the property in the special assessment district for costs in the next year, and provide notice of such hearing in such a manner as prescribed by law, that all resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with provisions of the within resolution B and the same are hereby rescinded. I would so move resolution number 2019-25 to create the neighborhood camera special assessment district number 074 for the Cliffs Condos. There's a support by Clerk Karen Love-J-Rowe, me, and supported by Trustee Stan Eldridge. Is there any comments or questions from any of the board members?
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to say thank you all for coming out. It's always really, really amazing to see this many people here, so thank you.
All right, if there's no other comments or questions, we'll have a roll call vote. Trustee Heather Gerald Rowe.
Yes.
Trustee Stan Eldridge.
Yes.
Trustee Monica Ross Williams.
Yes.
Clerk Karen Lovejoy Rowe votes yes. Treasurer Doe.
Yes.
And Trustee Jimmy Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously by the board members here. All right. Number 4 on our agenda is public comments. Just ask that you go to the microphone, and this is where you can talk on anything that you want. You also have the opportunity under each board agenda item, if you'd like to make a public comment, just give your name for the record. Ms. Kaiser.
My name is Arloa Kaiser. I live at 1421 Melvin Street, and since we have so many people in the audience, I would like to mention that we have the possibility of getting a grant for, it's a matching grant for Loon Feather Park, which is on Grove Road, for upgrades. And what I would like to see is everyone write a letter to the clerk saying that we want this grant. And it's a matching grant. We would be paying approximately $295,000 from our Parks and Recreation Department, and the other comes from
Michigan National Resource Trust Fund grant.
Thank you. What they're going to do to Loon Feather Park is redo the pavilions. There are 2 pavilions, make the bathrooms ADA compliant, having to do with upgrading the trails, doing something along the shoreline to preserve it. And I think that's all right now that I can remember. But I would encourage everyone to write a letter, because the more representation from the people who live in the area, the better chance that we have it. The letters have to be in by August, and they can be sent to the clerk's office, and she will send them to the appropriate people. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kaiser. You have to go, you can do an email.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good
Yes.
evening. My name is Joanne McCollum, And I would like to talk about the skate park. I have several things, all short, I think. The skate park, thank you so much for getting that together. The young man, I didn't know, the young man saying all ages. So I guess you may see me out there when it's done, huh? I must have the proper equipment on, though. But that's exciting, you know, the skate park. Thank you for that. I'd like to thank Supervisor Stumbo and Clerk Lovejoy Rowe for putting a light in West Willow on Onondaga.
Is it up?
I thought Brenda said it was up last night.
I don't know. Okay, no, well, then she knows. I haven't been over there yet.
Okay. Well, we have our traffic committee, West Willow Traffic Committee meeting tomorrow, so they will know for sure. But I just want to say thank you. It seems like we were just recently asking you for it, and now, boom, there it is. But this is about safety, and we just thank you. I thank you for it because that shows how much concern you have for the citizens, for the residents. And I know you are concerned about them, but action speaks louder than words. I also want to thank Trustee Ross Williams and the Neighborhood Engagement Coordinator, Crystal Campbell, for coming to the West Willow Association meeting last night and explaining about the marijuana ordinance and why you opt out. And I think it's so important to let people know why you did those things. We had a full house, which was very good. We had no room for sitting or standing. So I'm glad people showed out, because the more people there, the more people can hear the facts about what's going on, rather than hearing rumors or something else that's not true about this. So I just want to thank you, Trustee Ross Williams and Crystal Campbell, for explaining that. The residents seemed very pleased. We did have one resident say, thank you for explaining this to us, you know, so thank you. I also want to talk about an email I sent to Trustee Wilson. I didn't receive a response from it, so that's why I'm reading it. It is about a video that I saw him in, an interview. And it goes, "Hello, Trustee Wilson. I'm writing this email because I'm very disturbed by the interview that you had. When you voted no on the marijuana opt-out ordinance, it was confusing to me because you had voted yes before, but I was waiting for your reason. It seemed to me that there was a sunset clause that you did not agree with. I'm not sure because you did not say much. However, when you were interviewed, you had a lot to say on the subject, which is confusing to me since you did not say these things at the board meeting, which is where I would expect you to say them. Another confusing aspect is you voted yes on the nexus issue because you knew it was for the best for the people. Yet when it came to marijuana opt-out, you said, this is what the people want. As a resident of Ypsilanti Township, I vote officials in office so they can do the best for me and the residents. We as residents are not in position to always know what exactly that is. We may have an idea, but if the officials do their due diligence and find out what is best for the people, that is exactly what you're supposed to do. Then you are doing your job. Another aspect of the interview is when the church was brought up in conversation. I was highly offended that you would laugh and agree with the interviewer that the church congregation is saying one thing and voting another. This shows lack of respect to this group of people, which I find highly offensive. I can respect your point of view and decision to not want to opt out of the marijuana ordinance. However, I cannot respect your lack of regard to the church congregation. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
I didn't plan on saying anything more, but I got applause last time, so I'm kind of addicted to it now. I just wanted to say, I'm sure you already know this, but our whole community would love for Galt Village to have some good businesses. And I know at one time there was talk of having a restaurant on Ford Lake. So to the degree that you have any influence on this, I think we'd be all behind you if we could get some functioning businesses there. That's it. Thank you very much.
Can you give your name again for the
I'm
person
sorry.
not here?
Quorum, K-H-U-R-U-M, and then Sheik, S-H-E-I-K-H. Hi, Stan. We work
you.
together.
Any other public comments? All right, thank you. We're going to move on. Next, a motion to approve the consent agenda and the minutes of the May 7th work session, a regular meeting, the statements and checks, and the April treasurer's report will be in order.
So move.
I'm sorry, support. I'm sorry.
Motion by Treasurer Doe, supported by Monica Ross Williams, trustee. Any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Next is, we did the attorney's report in the work session. Next is the first item of new business, which is the resolution 2019-23, the approval of the SRF contract and authorizing the notice for the Yucca wastewater treatment plant improvements for the SRF bond sale. I have to read the resolution, which is 2019-23, approving the contract and authorizing notice. Whereas it is necessary to acquire and construct certain improvements to the wastewater treatment plant consisting of improvements to the West Deterior, I don't say that right, filter pumps and valves and the fluidized bed incinerator, together with all necessary appurtenances and attachments thereto to serve the township of the city of Ypsilanti. And whereas a contract has been prepared among the township and the city and Ypsilanti Community Utilities Authority, and whereby the authority will issue its bonds on behalf of the township and the city to provide for the financing of the cost of the project. And whereas this governing body has carefully reviewed the contract and finds that it provides the best means for accomplishing the project and for providing the needed services. Now therefore be it resolved that the contract is hereby approved and supervisor and clerk of the township are hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver the contract for and on behalf of the township, provided however that contract shall not become effective until the expiration of 45 days after the publication of the attached notice as a display advertisement of at least a quarter page in size in the Washtenaw Legal News, a newspaper of general circulation within the township, which manner of publication is deemed by the governing body to be the most effective manner of informing the taxpayers and electors of the township of the details of the proposed contract and the rights of referendum thereunder. And number two, the township clerk is directed to publish the attached notice in the newspaper above designated as soon as possible after the adoption hereof. And that three, all resolutions and parts of resolutions that are in conflict with this resolution be and the same hereby are repealed. I would so move resolution 2019-23 to approve the contract and authorize the notice for the sale of the YCU bonds.
Or
So motion by Joe, supported by, motion by me, supported by Joe. Thank you. I'm having a hard time wearing these two hats here. Carolyn, all right. Is there any questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried unanimously. Number two is a request to approve the master deed bylaws and elevations for the Majestic Lakes Estates condominium phase of the Majestic Lakes Plan Development, include the change to the master deed, Article 8, Section B, Number 6, to read the modification of leasing restrictions to only be more restrictive than otherwise required in the development agreement and bylaws. I would so move the approval.
Support.
That's a motion by Karen Lovejoy Rowe, supported by trustee Stan Eldridge. Is there any comments or questions? Did you want to say that's fine for the record? And give your name, please.
Mark Roebuck with Development Coordinator with Lombardo Homes. I reviewed the language with Mike Radzik and agreed to it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions in regards to the motion? All those in favor on approving the master deed bylaws and elevations for the Majestic Lakes Estates condo phase of the Majestic Lakes plan development with the change to the master deed Article 8, Section B6, which is the modification of leasing restrictions to only be more restrictive than otherwise required in the development agreement and bylaws. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right, next we have the request to approve the master deed and bylaws and elevations for the Majestic Ponds condominium phase of the Majestic Lakes plan development with a change to the master deed Article 8, Section B6. The change to read the modification of leasing restrictions to only be more restrictive than otherwise required in the development agreement and bylaws. I approve that request.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Lovejoy Rose, supported by Treasurer Doe. Is there any comments or questions? Did you want to give your name? Do that again? Yeah, just for the record. It's a legal process.
Mark Roebuck, Development Coordinator, Lombardo Homes. I reviewed the language and agreed to the change.
Thank you. All right, any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote on it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carried unanimously. Number 4, under new business, is the request to approve the Second Amendment to the Master Deed and associated exhibits of the Village at Majestic Lakes condominium phase of the Majestic Lakes plan development, and to include the Second Amendment to add number 6 as follows. The Master Deed, Article 8, Section B, 6 is hereby amended and restated in its entirety to read as follows. The modification of leasing restrictions to only be more restrictive than otherwise required in the development agreement and bylaws. I would make that motion to approve that request to the Second Amendment, and that's supported by Trustee Gerald Rowe. Any comments? Do you want to do it one more time, sir? Thank you.
Again, Mark Roebuck with Lombardo Homes. I, again, reviewed the language and agreed to the change.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, I will vote on the motion to request to approve the Second Amendment of the Master Deed and associated exhibits of the Village at Majestic Lakes condo phase of the Majestic Lakes plan development with the Second Amendment change as follows. The Master Deed, Article 8, Section Paragraph B, Paragraph 6 is hereby amended and restated in its entirety read as follows. The modification of leasing restrictions to only be more restrictive than otherwise required in the development agreement and bylaws. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right, next we have a motion or a request to approve, this is number 5, under new business, to approve the amended agreement with the Washtenaw County for the sub-award of the federal financial assistance for the proposed bus stop shelter at Schooner Cove and South Huron River Drive. A motion to do so is in order.
So moved.
Moved by Heather Gerald Rowe, trustee, and supported by Treasurer Larry Doe. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried unanimously. Next, number 6 is a request to approve an amended agreement with OHM for additional work to the pathway for the Schooner Cove bus stop in the amount of $6,110 to be budgeted in line item 101-970-000-974-100, contingent upon approval of the budget amendment. A motion approved. Is it?
Support.
Larry Doe supported. Heather Gerald Rowe, or he made the motion. Heather Gerald Rowe supported. Any comments or questions about the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Number 7, the request to approve the skate park agreement between Ypsilanti Township and Washtenaw County by the Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation Parks Commission. A motion to approve that agreement is in order.
Move to approve.
Heather Gerald Rowe, trustee, supported by trustee Jimmy Wilson. Any comments or questions? It's an exciting project. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We next on number 8 is a request to approve the change order, number 1, in the amount of $715, and the proposal to conduct a subsurface investigation at 1150 Midway in the amount of $5,570 with AKT Peerless in a total amount of $6,285 to be budgeted in line item 212-212-000-801-300 contingent upon approval of the budget amendment. A motion would be in order to approve this change order and approve the contract.
So move.
Support.
Larry Doe, treasurer, supports, or made the motion. Trustee Jimmy Wilson, supported. Any comments or questions about the motion before us? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously. Number 9, we have new business is a request of Michael Radzik, Office of Community Services Director, for the authorization to seek the legal action if necessary to abate public nuisance for properties located at 2358 Ravenwood and 5940 Ellis Road and 2830 East Michigan Ave in the amount of $30,000, budgeted in line item 101-950-000-801-023. A motion to approve that request is in order.
Support.
Heather Gerald Rowe, trustee, made the motion. Trustee Stan Eldridge supported it. Is there any comments or questions about that motion to abate the public nuisance at 2358 Ravenwood, 594 Ellis Road, and 2830 East Michigan Ave, budgeted $30,000, and the line item is listed? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried unanimously. Number 10 under new business, a request to approve the agreement with the Washtenaw County Road Commission for the local road dust control in the amount of $5,847.93. It's budgeted in line item 212-212-000-818-006. A motion is in order to approve that agreement.
Move.
Support.
Monica Ross Williams made the motion. Stan Eldridge, trustee, supported it. Any comments or questions about that motion to make sure our roads aren't dusty this summer? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion to approve the agreement with Washtenaw County Road Commission for dust control in the amount of $5,847.93. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Number 11 is a resolution to amend the 2019-24 amended 2019 designation depositories. A motion to approve that resolution is in order.
So move.
Support.
Treasurer Doe made the motion, and it was supported by trustee Monica Ross Williams. Supported. Is there any comments about the resolution on the depositories? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion to approve Resolution 219-24 amended 2019 designation depositories. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Next, we have the budget amendment number 9. I have a motion to offer to move to increase the general fund by $46,410. This is for the election and for the CDBG pass-through dollars for the bus shelter to $10,084,556 to approve the department line item changes as outlined, to increase the fire fund budget by $74,405. Those are for the firefighter contract increases to $6,476,990 and approve the line item changes as outlined, to increase the bike, sidewalk, rec, roads, general fund 2 budget by $8,435. That's for the monies for AKT, for the skate park environmental assessment to $1,672,548 and approve the line item changes as outlined, and to increase the law enforcement budget by $122,467, and that's for the generator, which is on the agenda later, and also to improve for the contractor proposal from OHM to design for the bids for the actual installation of the generator. And that would increase that line item to $7 million, or that fund to $7,802,624, and approve the line item changes as outlined. I would so move the budget amendment number 9.
Support.
This motion made by Karen Lovejoy Rose, supported by Treasurer Larry Doe. Any comments or questions to approve the budget amendment? Yes.
I just would like to say for the record that I do not personally support the law enforcement fund increase tonight.
other comments or questions?
Sorry, Madam Chair. I do have a question about the cost of the $150,000. I do support everything else that's on this budget amendment at this point. So I will be making that point inside of the individual bids and authorizations as it relates.
Any other comments? Hearing no one, we'll vote on the budget amendment number 9. So noted that by trustee Heather Gerald and trustee Monica Ross William, questions on the increase in the police services fund. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The budget amendment passed unanimously. Next, we have authorization of bids, and the first item we have is a request from Mike Radzik, the OCS Director, to award the low bid for the generator replacement at the Law Enforcement Center to Cummings Incorporated in the amount of $83,767 to be budgeted in line item 266-301-000-971-001, contingent upon approval of the budget amendment. A motion to approve the purchase of the generator be in order now?
So move.
Motion by Joe, supported by trustee Jimmy Wilson. Is there any comments or questions about purchasing the motion to purchase the generator? Sorry.
Madam Chair.
Yes, trustee Heather Gerald.
Just as discussed during the work session, just to put those on our traditional board meeting minutes, I do not support funding this whole project by ourselves. I do believe that the Washington County Sheriff's Office should have some hand in helping us pay for that. I did go back. Thank you, Lisa, for looking up the exact date. But a year and 6 days ago, we reopened or requested or authorized to allow not to exceed $200 or $25,000 to reopen our Holmes Road Police Station, which I'm very thankful for. I live in the Holmes Road neighborhood, and I'm grateful for that. But that, combined with both of the authorizations listed today, would bring us up to about $300,000 that we're spending on our police force over the last year and 6 days. And I am so happy to support our police services. I know how important they are to our community, but I do believe that the county sheriff's office should have some hand in funding some of these projects. In addition to that, since I'm already on the pedestal of talking about it, we still, to my knowledge, have 2 deputy positions that we had budgeted for back in 2018 that are still unfilled, to my knowledge. So just along the lines of the county sheriff really upholding their side of the bargain. Again, I'm thankful and so happy to have the deputies that we do have. I know that they do a wonderful job, but when we're talking about spending $300,000 of our taxpayer dollars, it's a big deal. Thank you.
I'd make a motion, first of all, say this, that, is there any other comments or questions? No, I won't control the chair, I'm sorry.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, yes, and I concur with a lot of trustee Gerald Rowe's comments. I believe that basically, and I would like to offer a friendly amendment to the motion that we'll look into, basically the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department sharing in some of the costs for this generator.
Just a point of information, I got the amendment. Was there support for the amendment? Just as a point of information, it might be more appropriate just to do a tabling motion, because the motion is to buy it, and then the amendment is to ask for support.
Okay.
And we definitely don't want to go into spending the money to design if there's not. And this is a huge expenditure, and I feel really strongly about when you're spending that kind of money, we should have full board support. I just, that's just, I just think it's important. That means all the minds agree that this is a good expenditure when you're spending that amount. And when you take it, I don't even go into what trustee Heather Gerald Rose said about, but when you take it home, I think it was close to probably $1 million, maybe a little bit under, seven, that we did to actually fix that. And the thing of it is, as trustee Gerald Rose, I think, said in the work session, that language that Mike Radzik read about how we have to provide a place, or they have to have a place, but the truth of the matter is, if they had to be on Hogback or somewhere else, it would cost them, monies to do that. So I mean, I don't think we're necessarily, I don't know what number that would satisfy everybody, but I would just think if someone wanted to table it until with the sole purpose of reaching out to the sheriff's department, because we don't want to spend that money if there's not support to do the design and do the installation. Like Larry said, well, what are you going to do with the $82,000, dollar generators cost? I don't know. What do you think about that, Michael? Because it's your department head. I mean,
Madam Chair.
are you disappointed? Oh, okay.
Madam Chair.
Well,
ahead, Larry.
Treasurer Doe first, and then.
I would guess that, we need to set a meeting up with the sheriff and the county and to say, hey, what piece of the pie do you guys think you ought to put in there? Or do you think, and mainly the sheriff, do you think we need this? We're saying we need it because we've been told we needed it. I don't know where the sheriff stands on it. Does he think we need it, or?
For emergency operations, yeah. Because that's what it's for.
And we haven't talked to them, so I don't know what they think, I guess.
I haven't asked them if they think we need it. All I know is that we can't get parts for what's there. So if it breaks down, it's dead. It's a 1972 Ford diesel motor.
Well, I understand it, Mike, but I mean, the question becomes, what is the county and the sheriff's got, to put in? I mean, what does the sheriff say? I mean, if we don't have any power out there, he can't operate. So where does he send his people?
I can't answer that. I just know that if theoretically, I think if we didn't provide the facility, they'd probably come out of Hogback or Zeb Road maybe, and we would just lose all the travel time as service to the community. But I don't know the answers.
Well.
And so I don't know what their position is on it until we sit down and talk to them about it.
I just want to, go ahead, trustee.
Just,
Ross.
I guess, point of information, if I need to pull back my friendly amendment in order to do a friendly amendment instead to table, then please let me know.
Yeah, go ahead, trustee. I was just going to say, which just made me think about when Treasurer Doe was asking that, and then your response, Mike. This, what's proposed, and then what we're proposing to design for the installation, proposed to purchase, this is a full-fledged, keeping the organization running just like it's running, as if you didn't have any power shortage, right? And so I do know that you can do, like I understand that we probably have to do something no matter what, even if they don't agree to pitch in. But part of that decision might be if they say no, are we going to put this kind of money in there? And if not, what's the other option? And that option probably would be a new generator, but not one that would keep, maybe we could decide when we keep the lights going, the heat going, it would be something and it would cost less. So that's kind of a different thing too. So I think, yeah, you're right. It's almost like we need to have the sheriff say, yeah, an emergency or tornado hits the area, we've got full-fledged everybody out going on or whatever. Do we need full power at from a police service, from rolling out services? They need to say if we need, tell us, because then that would help us to make a decision too, even if there's not going to support it. Trustee Eldridge, I think you were next.
Well, I was just going to mention that this begs a bigger question that we probably should have got all these costs earlier. I think irregardless of where we stand on the cost and where the money comes from, what we're doing is kind of playing a little bit of a gamble here that we don't have a natural disaster between today and the next time we vote on this. And if we haven't asked the questions appropriately before now, and we table this, and something occurs, and somebody gets hurt because of our lack of doing due diligence ahead of time, that's not going to be a good thing. So I don't support tabling it. I have questions on the cost for a couple of things. But at the end of the day, I think the clerk just said, to keep this building functional in case of emergency, we're going to have to put it there either way. It begs the question, we should have asked this of the sheriff and the county long ago at some point. But to table it now, I think, would not be doing what we're elected to do, and that's to make sure that we make decisions that will benefit the community should something happen. I think we all agree that this building probably needs it, especially if something were to occur. Do we have other alternate facilities in the township that they could work out of? Yeah, the one right next door and the one on Holmes Road would be adequate. They wouldn't have to go back to Hogback. But at the end of the day, this is the facility we've already spent a lot of money on to bring it up to where it should be. So I wouldn't support tabling. I think we need to purchase it and then just enter into some kind of a dialogue, maybe on future purchases that the county is going to have to contribute money. That's just my 2 cents on it.
My hope would be that we could get them to contribute some significant amount to this. And somebody mentioned the type of generator or how much of the building. This is a standby power generator. So this essentially is designed, if the power goes out within, I think it's 10 or 12 seconds, it will have fired up and it will power the entire building. Part of the reason it's so large and expensive is the HVAC system to provide heating and cooling if there is a long-term outage, say 24 hours or longer. It could definitely be scaled down to something less. I don't remember, the electrical engineer was trying to school me on the terminology. There's emergency generators only, which will do some hallway lights, maybe the telephones. But, I mean, Stan, you know, if you don't recharge the battery on the police radios, they have no communication. The videos, all their logs are computerized, and there's antennas that the county owns on the building that transmits all that data instantaneously to everywhere it goes. So, I mean, we considered all the alternatives in terms of how much of the building. And in the end, it was determined if this is such an important and critical infrastructure for our community, for the safety of our community, we should do it to the full extent, capabilities of standby power.
Well, I would only add to what Mike just said. I think you were still on the job when we had the brownout, where power went down across this whole part of the country for a while. It went down in our police station.
Yeah,
our computers were beginning to heat and go out, and we couldn't have survived much longer. And we had a generator there to power things back up. However, it wasn't the right size, and after several hours, it started to go bad. So we're thinking natural disasters. We could simply have the brownout again. And as Mike, as you recall, it was chaotic at best.
There was another incident where the cell phone towers were down. You couldn't even communicate that way. But we do have a generator for the court building right next door where the police substation used to be. And I don't know what size that is, but I know when the power would go out, and it would go out occasionally for half a day or maybe a day, there would be some hallway lights on, and I think one wall outlet for a computer or a radio battery charger. And that was it.
I think that's what we have for this building, just minimal computers, minimal lights. I don't think heat.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Yes, Trustee Heather.
I appreciate Stan or Trustee Eldridge and Mike. I appreciate both of your opinions because I know that you've worked as police officers, and I do appreciate that. But like, we've already went out for a bid, got this thing, so I'm just like, I just personally, I cannot like be put under the gun, pun intended, to spend this kind of money without understanding if our county sheriff supports it, doesn't support it, wants it, needs it, especially when we have other facilities that are really, in the case of a natural disaster, are within reasonable amount of space to our residents. I just personally, I think I don't understand. I guess I feel like it's almost like we should have had this discussion going already. And that's no fault of anyone's. I don't mean that in any way. But if we're going to make these decisions, I think that it's kind of a big picture plan too. So what else at that building in the next 5 years is going to be needed, needing replacement? And what is the sheriff think about it? Does he want it? What does he, it's sort of like a capital improvement. So, those are just my thoughts. I'm not saying by any means that I'm willing to compromise the safety of our residents, but I also was elected to be fiscally responsible. So to just spend $300,000 in the matter of a year on I just can't do that tonight.
Madam Chair, I just want to clarify my points because I know I actually asked the question about tabling. So to clarify, what, if I have a correct point of information, that we cannot amend this motion properly in order to ask for the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department to pay some costs, which is the first thing I wanted to, to mitigate some of that $150,000 installation cost. So if that's not available, it's not to me, trust me, I'm concerned about safety, but I'm also concerned about the price. So that's basically where it's coming down to me.
Yeah, all I was saying on that was that it is to purchase sets. So if we make the motion, even supporting the amendment and that, it means you're still purchasing. It just says that you're going to ask the sheriff. If that's what you meant, then that's, all right, that's fine.
Yes.
And I know that I had the amendment from you. I didn't know if I had support for the amendment.
And I don't know either, actually. It wasn't clarified.
Was there support? Oh, thank you. Who was it? Oh, thank you. So we have a motion in front of us, and that's to approve the request of, where's my thing at? The request of Mike Radzik, OSCS Director, to award the low bid for the generator replacement at the Law Enforcement Center to Cummings in the amount of $83,767, budgeted in line item, or 2B budget 26630100971, contingent upon approval of the budget amendment. Well, actually, we did the budget amendment. And there was an amendment to that to say that we should ask the sheriff to share on that cost. Did I get that right?
That is correct.
All right. So any other questions or discussion on the amendment? We'll vote on the amendment first.
I would accept that.
friendly?
Yes, I would
Sheriff and
definitely
county?
accept that.
So the amendment that we're going to vote on is to ask both the sheriff and Washtenaw County to share in the costs of purchasing the generator and/or installation, or is just generator,
I would say the generator and installation.
and/or installation. So the amendment is to ask the county, Washtenaw County, and the Washtenaw County Sheriff to share in the cost of the purchase of the generator and the installation costs. Any other discussion on that?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think someone raised a good point at the board meeting, and it was about looking into like if they had any natural disaster funding or if they could somehow find funds through that like route of, grants or whatnot. Thank you.
I didn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
Someone in the board meeting said that it may have been you that was talking about natural disaster funding.
Oh,
or if,
so
like,
we'll add
any
that. Is
grants
that
or
all right?
something
We add that?
there.
Emergency
You don't have to add it, just whoever
Oh,
asks.
we should ask them too. It's just different agency, emergency management, right?
County emergency management? Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you want to
We-
add that to the amendment? So we'll ask three different groups.
I can definitely add that as a friendly amendment. I have no problem. Yeah.
Are you, Larry? All right, so the amendment we're going to vote on now says we're going to ask the Sheriff's Department, the Washtenaw County, and the Washtenaw County Emergency Management Organization, or whatever they're called, to help with the purchase and the installation. Any other comments or questions on that amendment? Hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So we have the motion carried with one dissent by trustee Heather Gerald Rowe. Let me write that down. And now the motion before us is exactly what's on the board meeting agenda, authorization to award the low bid for the generator for the Law Enforcement Center to Cummings for $83,767. Any other questions or comments on that motion? Hearing none, we'll vote on that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried with one objection. Trustee Heather Gerald Rowe. All right, so you can go ahead and get that ordered for that. All right. And I guess somebody, Larry, Radzik, whoever, take the lead on contacting those other agencies for support. Okay, number 2, under authorization bids, is to request Mike Radzik to approve a professional services contract with OHM for the procurement, delivery, and installation of a replacement generator at the Law Enforcement Center in the amount of $38,700, budgeted in line item 26630100971, contingent, well, we already did the budget amendment. So a motion to approve that request is in order.
So move.
Support.
Motion by Heather Gerald Rose, trustee, and supported by trustee Monica Ross Williams to approve the professional service contract OHM to procure, deliver, and to services contract for procurement, delivery, and installation of the replacement generator at the Law Enforcement Center. in the amount of $38,700. Any other comments or questions about the motion?
Friendly amendment?
Yes.
Just a request for an itemized bill of what 38,700 gets us?
Support?
Yeah. So there's an amendment that we would actually have a breakdown of what the actual proposal is. I think that was the bullet points under each one of the tasks by Stan Eldridge and supported by Monica Ross Williams. Any other comments on either amendment? Hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment first, which is to get an itemized breakdown of the bill of $38,700 by the various bullet points under the task. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The amendment passed unanimously. Now we'll vote on the motion, which is exactly what's in your board packet, to approve a professional service contract with OHM for the procurement, delivery, and installation of a replacement generator at the law enforcement center in the amount of $38,700 to be budgeted in line item, what's already budgeted in line item 266-301-009-71001. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So it was trustees Monica Ross Williams and Heather Gerald Rowe that voted no on the proposal for OHM. And that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion carried. All right. Next, the final item on our agenda is a request for authorization to waive the financial policy and seek 3 quotes for the repair of the roof of the Civic Center and maintenance garage, and authorize the 3 full-time officials to select the vendor and enter a contract for the project. A motion to do so is in order.
Support.
Heather Gerald Rowe, trustee, and trustee Stan Eldred made the motion in support. Is there any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion to authorize to waive the financial policy, seek 3 quotes for the repair of the roof on the Civic Center maintenance garage, and authorize the 3 full-time officials to select the vendor and enter the contract for the project. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. A motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll move.
Support.
Motion by Doe, supported by trustee Wilson to adjourn. And what time is it, somebody? My computer's down.
8:02.
8:02. Any comments or question on that motion? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried unanimously. At 8:02, we adjourn.
How do we get up? Joanne McCullum. Yeah, New Westfield Neighborhood Association. Joanne. I can write it down.